we got a special program for you today. It's going to be talking about loved ones that's lost and they've been found. And John Wilk is going to be with us. And we've got a special family that's reunited with sisters and brothers that they didn't know, only lived probably 200 or 300 miles apart and did not know each other for many, many years. It's going to be a special program. You'll see a few tears. You'll see a lot of happy smiles. You'll see a lot of things on this program. It's the entire hour. And John Wilkes is going to be talking about all the things that he's done. So some of you have been contacted with this and know firsthand because he does a lot of reunions for schools and everything. So give him a call. We'll have his number on the screen. And if he can help you, he just loves to do this as a hobby. Stick around. Got a good one for you. I think you'll enjoy it. Hello everybody and welcome to Out and About. Hope you want to sit down just a little bit and listen to some fantastic things that you're not going to believe. And some of you saying, boy, I wish I could get in touch with John. Well, we'll be running his number, and ran into him at the Waffle House the other morning and just had a great conversation. In turn, he has introduced me to some folks that he's helped before. And we're going to let John tell you exactly what he's about and what he's done. And what he does is reconnect families with lost family members or whatever. And circumstances are always different, but it can be done if you know how. And John Wilkes knows how to do that. So John, and I mentioned it to 2 or 3 people, and they said, oh, he taught school. So there's a lot of people around the area knows this guy right here. And yes, that's who this is, this former school teacher with the Escambia County High School.
Well, I was with the Escambia County school system, but most of my time was either Warrington Middle School or Woodham High School. And my name is John Wilk, and I'm a retired teacher from here in Escambia County. And I got into this searching, it must have been probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and looking people for my own class reunion. I graduated from Escambia High School, and it was sort of like starting hit and miss, and finally got interested in doing it. And then we went to a class reunion. We had our last one, I think, back in '03. And one of the other people there said, geez, you're doing all this stuff. I bet you have all of your family. And I thought about it, and I said, I was an adopted child. I don't know anything. And the fellow just happened to be an attorney married to one of the other classmates. And he said, well, look, Florida's changed the law. You can petition the court and go in front of a judge, and then you can find out information about your mom. So that sort of lit the fire. So then I went down and petitioned the court and got my hearing before the judge, and told him why I'd want to do this, and he said okay. So they gave me my mama's name, and of course back then I didn't have clue what to do. Everybody said go to Google. That didn't really help me. So it probably would now, but I didn't know enough to know how to do it. So anyway, I got going through that, and I was able to find my mother's name. And then through a sequence of events, it took me 3 months to locate information and finding, one way or another. I'll go into details later if you like. But I found out that I am one of 5 children. And after I found that my mother had deceased in 2000, and then I found out there were other children, and I found the youngest one, which was able to give me the name and birth dates of the other. And then we were able to get together, and I guess, Mr. Crowley, that sort of lit the fire. This is something I guess I do more or less as a hobby, but I really enjoy doing this because I know the joy that it gave me. That just really turned me on to something I really like to do. It's kind of like being a detective. I guess what I need is to get one of those hats that has a bib on both sides, and maybe a magnifying glass or something. But I really enjoy doing this. So anyway, that's how I got into it. For the class reunion and doing this. And 10 words or less, that's how I got here.
Okay. Now, and we've got some guests with us. And John, why don't you introduce our guests to us?
Okay. This is Linda Martell here. She was in the PHS class of 1960. And I, along with one of my friends that also does this, you run a lot of people around town, Johnny Wakefield, and I worked with this in assisting the people from the class of 1960 and finding missing class members. Anyway, it was really successful. I think we had a really big reunion, and they invited Johnny and I to the reunion. We work, well, let's say we collaborated on things, although he works in his house and I work at mine. We do by email and phone call. Anyway, Miss Linda was in the group and she contacted me at the end of the ceremony there and asked me something like this, or I think, what did you call me later on or something?
I called you.
Did you
yes,
call me? Okay. And asked me about finding her mother's mother. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. What do you know? And then she told me about the information, and there you can probably tell them where we're there. She gave me the name, and it was written in French. So I immediately called Johnny, because he speaks several languages, and got him to tell me what would be in English. Then we're kind of off to the races. And I was doing my searching, and I think was really lucky that I was able to locate the family in Louisiana. Now, of course, that was a long time ago, in being able to bring it up to date. And unfortunately, when I found the family, that we found out that Miss Gent, who's the other lady over here, I'm sorry, I forgot about you a while ago because I was looking over this way. She is the one that we're looking for her mama. And when I found these people over there, I found that she had a sister, but unfortunately the sister had just passed. And then when I talked to Linda about it, she said, well, do they have any children? I said, yes, she has 3 boys. And but I said, I don't think any of them would know. It happened so long ago. And she said, bless her heart, she said, I've got to call them. So we got her the name and numbers, and she did. And she called the man. And again, Miss Jen, sorry, I was trying to look over here, and you guys are used to being on camera. I'm not, because I am scared to death being here. Okay? Miss Linda.
Now, Linda, let me ask you, this has probably been a pressing thing that you wanted to know for a while.
Right. We started when my mom was adopted in 1924 at 3 months of age, and her adoptive parents, when she found out later on that she was adopted, begged her not to find her parents. So my mom, did what they wished, and so we didn't start looking until 1982. And of course, I only had one name, and because it was spelt differently, we just couldn't find anybody anywhere. I had people all over the United States looking, with their knowledge of the computer and stuff. And I even went to New Orleans. She was adopted out of New Orleans. Talked to an attorney. They said, no, everything was closed over there, the records, and they wouldn't open them. And every time I'd go to a different city or town, I'd look in the phone book. In fact, I did go to Louisiana and tore out a page out of a phone book and sent out 15 letters. I got one back, and the gentleman said he was sorry, he didn't know anybody by that name. Just anything and everything that I could find, because my mom really did want some closure and to know where she came from. And we had a large, when she turned 80, we had an 80th birthday party, and so the year before I really tried to find, where she was from and stuff like that, because she always wanted a brother. And I wanted to find a brother so badly for her. And so I did everything I could, and I had a friend that lived in Illinois, and I sent him the name, and he couldn't find anything, and he came back and he said, the only name I can find is Delhomme. It's very close, and he said, there's a football player named Jake Delhomme. I said, no, that couldn't possibly be it because it's spelled different. Well, after John found who her family is, it turns out Jake Delhomme is Mom's first cousin's son. So we got so close 8 years ago. Mom's 88 now, and but it took, got so close, but yet so far away.